Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Our guest tonight is an award-winning powerhouse singer-songwriter who is out with a brand new album entitled The King and I. Please help me welcome back the super talented Faith Evans. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me again.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure every time you come, so we definitely appreciate you giving us love. And, you know, I'm very excited to talk to you tonight about, especially about this new project, The King and I. Tell us about, great album. I've been listening to it. Tell us about kind of what your creative process was in creating this project.
You know what? Initially, I guess I could say every day I went in like, what are we going to do next? So it was like challenging, but it wasn't at the same time, because every time we went in, it was like, okay, we weren't stuck. Like I pulled together the right crew of people to write and produce with, and we just came out with things that I was surprised at how it came together, you know?
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it seemed like it. I mean, I'm sure it brought back a lot of memories. You know, I just watched one of your new videos, and you could see a lot of the footage, you know, from back in the day. Did it bring back a lot of old memories and things like that?
Well, not as much as people probably would think, because it was more, I mean, yeah, there were a lot of times of just reflection, but that was probably just inner stuff, you know?
Right,
But at the same time, a lot of big songs weren't necessarily about me. So the whole thing about it was writing songs that made it fit into the trajectory of what the album was about. You know what I mean? And depending on where I was chronologically in our relationship. So that was more the thought process of it when I was going in the studio. I mean, there were, of course, a few moments where I might have reflected on stuff, but for the most part, it was just like, let's just roll up our sleeves and be creative, you know? Right.
I know a lot of people were shocked to see Little Kim. She's on this project. And I know I've seen a lot of footage. You know, I came to Bad Boy reunion tour. Amazing job. We'll talk about that. But we've seen a lot of footage. You know, with Kim, it's like y'all are in a much better place. How did you all get to the place where you all could work together and just let, you know, some of the older stuff go?
I don't know if I can really explain that, to be quite honest, because my process and her process are two totally different things, you know? And whatever she had to go through to be in a place to receive my sincerity, I can't tell you that, to be quite honest. I've been there for quite a while, you know? I mean, pretty shortly after Big passed away, if not immediately. I never felt, you know what I mean? I kind of let that type of stuff go as far as in my heart. But, you know, I understand that everybody's walk is different, you know, but I can say I'm glad that she's in a different place. And, you know, I had actually reached out to her to be on another record, but I feel like in reflection, it probably wasn't the right way to reach out, or I don't know how it got to her, you know. My ex-husband, I think, got word to someone she was working with at the time, but, you know, it obviously wasn't the right time. And at that time, I never knew, I'm going to be doing this King and I album in 2016, 2015. So, you know, God has his way of how he wants things to be, and that's how they are, you know.
Absolutely. Legacy is the video I was watching, by the way. I love that video. I love the song. You had a lot of guest artists on this project. I mean, I'm sure once they found out what you were doing, they just wanted to jump on it. I mean, this is, in itself, a legacy, you know, Biggs and yours. Would you say?
Definitely. That was totally the spirit and the feeling. I mean, there were a lot of people that either, I wanted to be on the project. It just didn't end up happening for different reasons, not so much, definitely not because they didn't want to do it. And then people that I actually started working with, or people who expressed that they wanted to do. But, you know, once I kind of, it's like I thought, I know initially I was saying, it's going to be later this year, probably 2015 when I first started working on it. Then, you know, I realized it may be 2016. So as things went on, I had to do different things. I went on tour, you know. I didn't, you know, I had to kind of just work around different factors. But, you know, I'm very happy with the album as it is, you know, and I'm very happy with the fact that for the most part people have been receiving it the way it was intended. You know, I wanted it to be the full story. You know, I had the option of kind of going the route of putting out a shorter version to today's shorter attention span. But
right.
I'm like, either way, it's an album and not a single. So why not put it out as the story that I created it as? You know?
Exactly.
I'm not.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, and a lot of people they're intrigued by this story of you and him. So I think that this is something that us as fans can always have and go back and listen to, you know, for years to come. I'm sure.
Well, that's good to hear.
I had the pleasure of seeing you on tour, on the Bad Boy reunion tour. I don't know if you remember, but Pam from Total, she's my big brother's sister. I call her my sister, but my big brother's sister. And so when you all came to ATL, she hooked me up with some tickets. And when I tell you that show in itself, it took me back. Everyone still looked good, sound good. It was just a great show. What was the experience like for you?
Well, it was a lot of fun. I mean, the thing is, like, I know the whole, you know, how people receiving it as a reunion. I mean, you know, it's a reunion of sorts in the sense of Puff bringing these, you know, his roster. But for me, it was a first in that sense. But it wasn't a reunion in a lot of other ways because I do shows with a lot of those artists, most of the artists that was on the tour all the time. You know, different promoters book us together quite a bit. And I keep in touch with most of them. So it wasn't a reunion in that sense. But I've never gone on any of those Bad Boy tours back in the day, like the actual ones that Puff did, because I was, you know, trying to do my own thing and stay away from the drama.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And as, you know, in some situations I ended up not so much avoiding drama, kind of by default getting into other drama, but, you know, either way I was looking to avoid it. So,
right.
But, I mean, you know, it was great for me to be a part of a big production like that. I mean, I have to honestly say that's the first time I've been a part of a production on that level. I mean, and it was great just to be able to see everybody every night. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I see them all the time. Also, it allowed me the chance to connect with Kim on a regular basis, even though we had already had a conversation and talked about her doing the album. But, you know, I got to meet her daughter and kind of go talk to her before a few shows. So, you know, it was cool in a lot of ways, you know. And overall, I mean, the way people received it, you know what I mean? Like, people, every city seemed to think it was like one of the best shows, if not the best show they ever saw, even though every city wasn't a great show for me. Some venues, the sound was a little weird, and, you know, I'm like, I didn't feel as in pocket with some as I did others, but I'm glad people, you know, thought it was a good show, and I'm glad to have been a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, from someone who, you know, I grew up in the 90s, and, you know, I saw you perform back in 98 on the Drew Hill tour. It just was like, wow, that was a great show. Like, everyone, even the, you know, surprise guest acts that came out. I think Jodeci came out here in Atlanta, 2 Chainz, a few other, but it was just a great show, well put together. Kelly Price came out, you know. Who do you see yourself?
I pulled Kelly out.
Did you?
I said, girl, come on out here and sing this song.
Yeah, and I didn't even recognize it. I guess I've interviewed her, but I never met her in person. And so when I was on, I said, who was that singing? She sounds so good. That was close to Kelly Price. That's Kelly Price. Yeah. Who would you like to see yourself like on a tour, you know, like a joint tour with? Who would be an ideal lineup for you outside of Bad Boy?
Oh, wow. Well, I've been talking about for many years trying to do something with a lot of the other female R&B artists that I love and that I'm cool with, that I respect as artists. You know, like a Kelly and a Layla and people there. I mean, there's a few more I can name, but, you know, I've thought of different lineups many times. So.
Well, we talked about, because, you know, Mary came out, I think especially in the New York show, and she might have came to another one. I remember in New York she was out there. So could you ever see a Mary J. Blige, Faith Evans, Little Kim collaboration? Could you ever see that?
Oh, yeah, I could see it.
That would be hot. You understand how hot that would
be? They really would.
I'm reading you some of the questions that we've gotten from people that knew you were coming on tonight, and they asked, could we ever get that? Because, you know, there's been so many, there are a lot of comparisons back in the day with you and Mary, but I think that you definitely have your own thing going on, both of you all. And then now that Kim is, you know, y'all are cool and everything, I think that'd be a wonderful, wonderful song. So you got to work on that.
I mean, if it was just my call, then, yeah, it would totally happen. But, you know, I don't know what different factors might affect it happening. It might be a matter of an actual producer, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Which I am as well, so
Exactly. Exactly. I was about to say, you produce. We know that you do your thing. When you go to perform, I know you've been in the game for a minute now. Do you ever get nervous when it's time to hit that stage? Like when you're on that Bad Boy tour and you know it's your turn to come out and sing as soon as I get home, do you ever get nervous?
Sometimes, but you know what? It's funny because I don't know if you've seen the Bad Boy documentary yet.
Not yet.
Can't Stop, Won't Stop.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've seen a couple comments where people noticed it, but most people don't know. On that first night of the tour, the first show in Barclays, which was actually before the tour started, I almost got crushed by the elevator. Right.
Oh my gosh.
When I was supposed to walk, you could see it very briefly, But the funny thing is, I had in my ears my my in-ear monitors, which for years now, I conditioned myself. I put my ears in, so I can't hear nothing, like whether it's somebody calling me, anything. I try and get my energy together for a good 10, 15 minutes before I got to go on stage, and I just don't hear anything. People be like, "What's wrong?" And they be like, "She can't hear you."
You can't hear, right?
I just block everything out, kind of, so my energy is just calm. So the funny thing is that particular night was a good example because if I hadn't had my ears in, I didn't hear my hairstyle. Everybody like, no, watch out. Like,
oh my God,
security guard swiping me out the way. Meanwhile, the stage manager's telling me to come on. And if I was walking toward the thing, it would have crushed me if nobody saw it.
Oh, my God.
If I heard them screaming my name saying no, I wouldn't have been able to step right up on that thing and perform that night. You feel what I'm saying? I probably would have performed, but I probably would have been like, oh.
Right.
Which is why I think I started doing that, because I'm like, I would be talking, doing a bunch of stuff before I go in, and I'm like, I hear myself singing. It takes me a minute to start sounding like I really sound. I'm like, why I sound all shaky like that, like nervous but it's an energy thing. So I'm like, you know what, don't nobody talk to me. So once I started singing with my in-ears, I just put them in, and I don't hear anything for a good, like I just chill.
Yeah,
so my energy is calm, and I don't have all of that extra weird stuff sounding.
Right.
But I think in a lot of situations it's kind of inevitable. It's kind of automatic in a lot of times. But I think because I kind of know that, I just kind of always, I say my prayer, I gargle, I take my deep breaths, and just kind of try and get my energy to the right place so that I'm just really calm. So I have somewhere to grow once I start singing.
So when you're on the stage and and anyone who's seen you perform is going to get a show, great voice and full of energy. What is going through your mind when you're performing? When you're looking at all those people in the audience, what's going through your mind?
Well, for the most part, most of the time it's my fans. So, it's I've grown to really enjoy it over the years. I was very shy in the beginning of my career. And then, like I said, I had to grow into understanding the performing aspect of being a singer, because that's still different than in church. I had to learn how to pace my voice and not always project so much, which in-ears play a good part in that, for a lot of singers that they perform. But, it's like I've grown into that. I really enjoy it. Like some shows, for me, may be vocally better than others, but then it's like the energy in the place might make it a great show,
Right.
So it's like, a lot of different things. Sometimes if it's not such a great energy in the audience, in my mind it's like, well, you got to still keep performing like it is.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because I sing. I'm not a superstar like you, but I do sing and I perform, and so. But it's very true. Sometimes you feel like you give it your all, and the audience is looking at you like, oh, okay, nice. You know what I mean? That does it. I mean, you do have to perform like this, rocking with you or whatever.
You gotta give it your all either way, right?
Yeah. That's crazy. But I think the big thing about the difference about someone like a Faith Evans, people know your songs, people know you, and so you have people.
Helps.
Yeah,
that certainly helps.
Exactly. Yeah.
Back to my first point, which is it's usually my fans.
Yeah.
So they know the songs. They happy when I break into that medley at the interludes. Whereas I don't like singing songs people don't know.
Right.
Like, be like, why don't you sing this or why don't you sing that? And I'm like, But then sometimes I don't have a long enough set to do all the songs people would like for me to do. So I may have to stick to the hits and then throw in a couple of album cuts that are popular,
Right.
But either way, I just try and have a really good time. I've grown a lot in that area. I know that for a fact. And I'm still growing. I want to still be able to add in those certain production elements, but that takes money too,
Right, exactly. It all costs. What do you say, and I'm not talking about you at all because you're still top of your game, but say like an artist because a lot of artists, as they start to get older, their voices change a little bit or change drastically, or even their appearance changes, as people do as they get older. And then how social media or even the media itself will just break them down. Like, I don't want to use the one example, but I've seen people that like are performing now or still touring or still trying to do their thing, and people are like, they need to retire, they need to give up. What are your thoughts about that? How the body changes, how the voice changes and all that?
I mean, let me say, on both hands, both of those things are part of the facts of life. The fact that you're going to change at some point,
right?
And the fact that people are going to talk regardless. Social media has just, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Social media has just opened it up to be, people that you see it a little more if you're paying attention. My thing is, I don't really, even before social media, I wasn't one to really let what other people think or say affect me. But at the same time, personally, I have a personal goal to try and stay healthy and try and look as good as I can for as long as I can without sacrificing my natural beauty.
Right.
For whatever, for whatever that's worth, for whomever, you know what I mean?
No, yeah,
I go to bed early. I'm not. That's just me though. That's not for everybody. I'm not saying people shouldn't go out and hang out, but I have a lot of things on my plate. So I go to bed at 8 p.m. I wake up at 4 a.m. to go work out at 4:30 a.m. so that I can do all that to have my me time before my household gets going.
Yeah. And I know fitness is very important to you. You post videos sometimes, and you look great, by the way. So we know you're doing something.
Thank
right.
You. I'm trying to still keep it together.
Yeah,
when I be traveling a lot, obviously it's been more often now than others, but it's hard to keep my same schedule. But every time I'm home, I'm like I'm in bed at 8, so they already know.
You talked about your household, so your children. China's been on the show. They're all, well, not all of them, but a lot of them are getting into arts and doing, how do you feel them following in your footsteps?
Well, the good thing is I know that they aren't following my footsteps. They've been very adamant. I won't say adamant, but, they can't help that they have a natural gift for music and art.
Yeah.
But it took them years to even start asking me or, because they've been doing their own thing for so long.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I get it. I'm not that type of mom that's trying to be on your back. I just let them do their thing. But you have to know the moments of knowing when to come to me. And then they've had those times when they did something that, they're like, I should have asked you or told you because now I'm like, okay, but I'm not on their back like that. I know that now they know, and they know they better not put that signature on nothing.
Right.
But I let them do their thing. They're very, very creative. So
they definitely
and the
are.
last thing they're trying to do is be like me or big or anything relative.
Right. With their own individuality.
Right.
Now, if they're doing a biopic on you, and I've heard rumors of one, who would you want to play you?
Yes, I am working on one.
Okay.
We haven't started casting yet.
Okay.
But I don't know. And the thing is, I keep saying Anthony did such a great job in Notorious that I wouldn't be mad at that. But then people are like, well, we want to see somebody different. So, but I mean, who knows? When it gets to casting, maybe it'll be easier to kind of make that decision because I really, off the top of my head, couldn't say. And she did such a great job,
Yeah, she did. She really did. And I know you did the whole Florence Bauer thing. What's going on with that? Is that ever going to come to light, do you think?
I would love for it to. I actually still keep in touch with her family. And, every time I go to Detroit for rehearsal or for shows, I link up with them. That was when it first came to me, the people that actually connected with her family who wanted me to play her.
Mm-hmm.
They were kind of a bogus company. I think the lady is in jail for fraud and stuff.
Oh, wow. Wow.
me and Nikki Gilbert had talked about trying to get it funded. So it's not something that's totally off the table, but I'm somebody that kind of has to kind of do stuff that presents itself at the time.
Right.
You know, keep my bills paid.
Exactly. Right.
So, you know, hopefully, you know, I think it will come together. It's just a matter of me having that window of time to start taking those meetings again. Yeah.
Yeah. So what about dating life for Faith Evans? Do you date?
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I was told that I'm not gonna get personal with you, but
that's fine.
What type of man?
Much to tell.
What type of man gets Faith Evans' attention? Like, you know, we know Big, we know your ex-husband, but today, Faith Evans today, what kind of man would you be attracted to?
Attracted to and getting my attention. That might be, you know, it will.
Two different. Yeah.
Hopefully are related, but at the same time, usually. I mean, you know, I'm not looking for it. I feel like it's gonna happen when it's supposed to happen.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like I wouldn't go out with somebody, but I like somebody with a sense of humor, somebody who loves God, who loves their mom, their family, their kids.
Yeah.
Who like music, you know, likes to travel, and got their own thing going on. I think that's probably the easiest way to describe that person. But, you know, I ain't really, like, looking, but I go out sometimes. I just don't, you know, I got too much on my plate to really, that's not my focus.
Your focus right now. Yeah, I get that. What advice would you give a new artist? I mean, again, you've been in this industry for a minute. You've had a lot of success. I mean, every album is crazy. Because some people think, like you said, you learned earlier in your career that you had to learn more about the performance aspect for you. You knew that you had the vocals, but this is what you had to work on. What would you give, advice would you give a new artist who's trying to get in this game? They have the talent. What's the next thing for them?
Is this without a deal artist?
Without a deal, yeah. Without a deal.
It's so crazy because it's hard because our shit is so different now. It's like it seems a lot easier to be heard, but at the same time, the focus may not be the same. Things are different in so many ways. So I know that I'm just blessed to still be here, even though I may not be, you know, I don't consider myself the most commercially successful because obviously I'm not, but I never measured my success on that type of stuff.
Never you say that.
I mean, I think you got to always trying to be on top of your craft. And I don't know. I mean, it would certainly help to have someone around you or be able to consult with somebody that has been in or knows something about the business and its workings. I mean, there's so many facets to it. It's like, are you an artist that writes? You know, then you got to be up and understand the publishing side of it as well. So, you know, I mean, you just got to really pay attention. And to be quite honest, those older books, they still apply. Like, I remember Kashif did that book on the music industry. It really does apply, even though it left off at the technological change of stuff and how the digital era comes in, but it's still, like, applicable to how the rules and how everything breaks down in the music business if you're really serious about it. Of course, and the fact that make sure you up on the talent side of it.
Right, got to have that.
Like, are you really dope? Like,
but you know what? Actually, these days, do you have good production? Because if you listen to some of this music that's out now, those people, they're not really talented.
I mean, I think it goes hand in hand. But, I mean, for me, that's just my opinion.
Okay,
but don't get me wrong. You're very right. It doesn't always take the most vocally talented or skilled individual to make a good artist. There's so many, like I said, so many facets to it.
Right.
You know, you may look the part. You may have your performance on point and be able to get that point across like nobody else.
Right. That's true. What other projects can you tell us about that you're working on that you're bringing to your fans?
Outside of the TV and movie stuff, we got the big documentary coming out in September.
Okay.
My biopic, hopefully, the end of this year. I mean, I got so many other albums in my head, to be quite honest, and I don't really know which one is going to come first. You know, like I got this whole jazz album I did, a gospel album I want to do, a covers album, a duets album with, you know, a male duets album. I got a bunch of different ideas. So, but I actually just did a song for Snoop's gospel project that he's working on.
Okay.
And then I actually am about to do an interlude for 112's new album, or interlude.
Oh, yeah.
And Freeway just sent me a record to do with him. So those are the things I got to knock out like this in the next couple of weeks.
Well, you're definitely busy. You're definitely working, which I'm glad to hear because I'm a fan. And, you know, there's so many people. All I say is Faith Edmonds. Steve is coming to see the next show when I get off. Ask her this. Ask her that.
Thank you.
Don't ask her this. Don't ask her that. But listen, I really want to take the time. I want to thank you for taking the time to join us tonight. I wish you nothing but continued success in this career. And I can't wait to see the biopic and the new music and the jazz album, gospel album. It's all going to be great. I can't wait to hear it. But thank you so much, Faith.
Thank you. Good talking to you.
Good talking to you. And listen, Faith's new album, The King and I, is in stores right now. Go buy it. We'll be right back after this.